Hey guys, it's Amy. Sorry about that before. I'm gonna start this over because I had a technical difficulty. Anyway, if you're here, please comment, like, and share. And we are going to put you guys in for a drawing for one of the cards that I do today using the techniques that we're going to do with the soft pastels from Stampin' Up. They're not new. I mean, Stampin' Up had them years ago, which I had never had them because I haven't been in Stampin' Up. I've been in under 10 years, so they were there, and then they discontinued them. And well, I've always loved pastels. My grandfather gave me some to play with, and I never thought about bringing them into the stamping world. So I've been playing with them since Stampin' Up came out with them and seeing what I could do with them. And I love that the colors that we have coordinate with the paper that we have. So what I'm going to do right now is show you how to actually do two different techniques using the pastels in a card. And we're combining two stamp sets. One that is our care stamp set. I think that's what they call it. I don't remember, but it's supporting heart health. $3 from every purchase of this stamp set for the Strong of Heart goes to heart health, which is wonderful. And then I'm also using the Henna Hearts, which is one of my favorites, and I don't usually find reasons to do that. I also want to apologize to you for being late today. I was kitty sitting for one of the rescue fosters. She is out on vacation, so I was loving her babies today and her fosters, so I spent a couple of hours over there this morning. And then I just love it because there's kitties and there's babies. I mean, we're talking babies. Less than 4 weeks old, which is awesome. And I love holding them and love them. And I get the little purrs and the little making the breads and the kissing the nose and nibbling. And it's my happy place. So I know one of our other ladies is like, I'll go take care of them today if you want. I'm like, no, I got this. Don't have a house big enough to do this, so I got this. So anyway, I'm happy to do it, and it makes me happy. So I am going to, without further ado, flip you over. And I wanted to let you know that starting in September, I'm no longer going to do Facebook Lives. They're going to go on to YouTube. I'm going to do a YouTube every Saturday, and it's going to be live on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go there and subscribe. And once we hit 500 on my YouTube channel, we're at 3-something right now, so it's not too far. But once we hit 500, I'm going to do a huge giveaway. Stamp set, back paper, something. I'm going to do a giveaway. And those who are subscribers will be awesomely involved in that giveaway. So without further ado, I'm going to flip you over and I'm going to get started. Remember, comment, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. All of my videos that are going to be on YouTube will eventually post over onto Facebook. I will share them there as well for you, but I will still only be doing lives on Facebook. So let me flip you over, and you guys can see what we're going to do. All right, so I had to go find my piece here, but this is what we're going to make right here. This little card. This is two different techniques. This is watercolored using the pastels, and I've got a little wink of Stella in there, and it's just gorgeous. And then this is also using our stamp sets with the pastels. And then I have some designer series paper here and here, and I've colored this designer series paper. You'll see it in a minute. And then I've used some soft sea foam. Soft sea foam is the color I've chosen for the background. So, but this is what we're doing. This is from the Henna Hearts, and the background stamp here, this heart here, is from the Strong of Heart, and the sentiment is from the Strong of Heart. So let me put this down, and I will show you what we need. You're going to need, and I will have all the dimensions written down. This is 5.5 by 4 1/4 of soft seafoam green. And this is a piece of that beautifully penned designer series paper in the Celebration catalog. With any $50 purchase, you'll get it for free. And this is 5 1/4 by 4. And then we have 2 1/2-inch by 5 1/4 strips of the beautifully penned designer series paper as well. And then I have a piece of watercolor paper here, just You only need enough for this. I have stamped this, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's clear embossed. See if you can see the shiny in it. There, you can see the shiny. But I have stamped it in Bermuda Bay and clear embossed it here. So basically what you're going to do is put your stamps in the Versamark, and then in your color, stamp the image, put your powder on it, and then heat it, and you get this. That will help from this becoming so watercolored. I know it looks so blended, but I'm hoping to prevent that. It's the only thing different I did from this card than this card that we're going to do. And then you're going to need a piece of regular cardstock, whatever your base that you like. This one is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And then you're going to need a piece of 5 1/4 by 2 1/4 of watercolor paper. And that's all this is. And that's what we're going to use for our focal point. And since I've already stamped this, we're going to do this in a moment. But I'm going to set this stuff aside. And we're going to start with the watercolor first and show you the first technique. I am taking, and of course you're going to need a brayer, and you know, we'll figure all this out in a second. So I have a piece to put underneath me here, and these are my pastels. I am going to be using the Coastal Cabana. Says it's Night of Navy. To me, it reminds me of Pacific Point. That's just what I think. And then I'm using Granny Apple Green. Those are the chalks that I'm using, and this is the whole palette. This is Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Poppy Parade, the Calypso Coral, the Granny Apple Green, Mossy Meadow, Grape, Gorgeous Grape, and then the Night of Navy, which I think is more like the Pacific Point, but that's my opinion. So the first thing we're going to do, you can see me stamping this has stained my block. So if you're someone that doesn't want your block stained, you may want to use some StazOn cleaner on this after, or make sure you clean it right after. I did not, and I let it dry, and it kind of stained my block. I will clean it. I will find a way to clean it, and I will let you know. But what I'm going to do is just leave this here. You're also going to need a spritzer. I have my water-filled spritzer here, you know. I always got my spritzer. So what we're going to do first is you're going to spray your stamp. You're going to spritz it. Just lightly give it some water. See how we've got it watered here? I'm going to kind of make sure the water's spread all over, because I don't want it dribble, dribble, dribble. And then I'm going to take in color. I'm going to take my blue, and I'm going to go at the top, and I'm literally just going to cover my stamp. Kind of makes it soaky and wet. Then I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana, and it's okay if your colors blend, because that's what makes it even cooler. And I'm just going to blend this in here and rub it on. I mean, I know you've probably seen this on the Stampin' Up website, and see when you keep going over it, it kind of pulls it up, so it's okay. And then I'm going to use my Granny Apple Green. And this one seems to be hard for me to get the color to stay. I don't know why. I don't know if they have a... You see how it's not getting on there? It will, but I really have to wet this. I'm going to wet it. There we go. It's kind of blobby right now. That's where I'm going to get a piece of paper towel. Soak up a little of that water. I don't want that much water on there right now. I mean, it's not really going to hurt it too much, but I just want to soak up a little of the water. I don't want all that color coming off there. So you see how you've got it like that, and you see how my blue has started to dry on this? So I'm going to take my spritzer again and lightly spritz. Just lightly spritz that time so that everything is wet. And we're going to randomly stamp this heart onto this watercolor paper. You want to get as much of the heart on here as you can. And because this is not a polymer, you don't need the foam underneath it. But I'm giving it a few minutes so that water can absorb into this paper. It would probably be better if it was a little damp, but it doesn't have to be. Matter of fact, we'll check and see if it needs to be a little damp. We'll dampen this side for the next stamp. There, now I've just spritzed that just a touch. So when we put the next one down, see how it's nice and pretty? It's got all the colors on there. When that dries, it will dry gorgeously. I don't know that that's even a word. Gorgeously. Ah! Where am I coming up with my stuff? Now, I've pulled it off. There's still plenty of color on there, but I want it to be full of color. So I'm going to put some more color on here. And I'm just going to blend them in. There we go. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to spritz it again. Okay. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to put this one down. Now, I only did 2 because it's such a small space. Now you could heat set this when you're done. And there you go. Now we've got 2 hearts and we've got this done. So I'm going to wipe this off as best I can. Clean it off with your chamois, whatever you've got to clean it off. And we're going to let that set to the side and dry. And see, yeah, even though I've cleaned it off with my chamois, it's still in the cracks, but that's okay. You rub it under some water, get a nice little scrub brush. Don't do too hard. Use mild soap, and it'll be fine. And I have some other things like Stays-On Cleaner that will help with that. So I'm going to set this stamp aside. We're done with that one. And I'm going to set this to the side to dry. And you see, because I didn't turn the stamp, I didn't get a full heart. But that's all right. It doesn't have to be a full heart. We're going to let this dry. Move it out of the way. All right, now we're going to go ahead and work on the other watercolor. So that was technique 1 with the watercolor. This one is the embossed image, and I'm going to show you how to use and color in your pieces with your brush. I just have an old retired water painter. You could use the new water painters. Any aqua painter will work. And I'm going to literally take my block. This is going to be my palette. And I'm going to scrape some of this pastel onto my block. Use my scissors, no big deal. And I'm going to color these outside pieces. Just dab a little water here. Get you your palette nice and wet, and then you're just going to come in here, and because we've done the embossing, all this blue is going to go right where you'll want it. Where on the other one you couldn't, it blended and pulled this green in, and so it made it a very blended mess, which I didn't like. So we will have to fussy cut this out, but that's okay. So if you want a really dark spot, you just get lots and lots of color and you put it in. And that's what we're going to do, is we're just going to paint this outside trim with this blue. And that's all I'm doing on this one right now. All I'm doing here is I'm just literally using the flecks of paint to paint my little flourishes around my heart. And it's just using water and your pastels. That's it. It's awesome. It's cool. Makes it look neat. And who'd have thunk? And there we go. And we're almost done. I've still got some stuff over here, and you know, as long as it's wet, I can still use it. And even if it's not wet, I can rework it and use it some more. And then we'll set, once this is done colored, we're going to color the inside with 2 colors to make it really cool. Because you know, on the card is really deep and rich right here on the edges with that Bermuda Bay. So we're going to blend it with some Bermuda Bay and some Coastal Cabana. And no, the chalks are not in Bermuda Bay. So that's going to be how I show you how to tweak that to make it look awesome and like faded and all that good stuff. Okay. I think almost all of our heart, the flourish part of our heart, is painted. Maybe not as dark blue as I'd like, but there will be some areas that are super dark. I'm trying to get as much of this as I can. And then we're not going to worry about the rest. I'm going to clean off my brush now. Make sure it's nice and clean because I don't want the blue inside. Okay. Now I'm going to get a different block because I don't want to mix those colors. And I'm going to take my Coastal Cabana pastel and the same thing. Just cut some off and put some on your block. See here? Get some Coastal Cabana there. And now we're going to take this and we're going to do the same thing as we did before, but we're going to do it with the Coastal Cabana. Kind of get this all nice and mixed up, and we're just going to come in here and swirl this in here. And I'm really trying to stay away from the edges too much because I don't want to bring that Night of Navy colored pastel in there. I just want it to be this Coastal Cabana color. And I really want this side to be really dark and this side to be nice and light. Oh, see, I got that blue in there and I didn't want to do that. Gotta clean that brush off now and get this fleck of blue out of there. Here we go. Now we can kind of do this. Now we've got blue in there. I can't get it out, but it won't kill it. I mean, it's gonna be fine. Now I'm going to take some Bermuda Bay, and you see how I have some down here in the bottom of my pan. I'm just going to take this ink, and I'm coming over here, and I actually have a cat hair. Who would have thought there's cat hair here? Whoop, whoop. With my 4 cats that are really mad that I've been playing with other cats. Now you see how I'm just kind of laying this in here because there's water on here already. And it's doing the work for me and lightening it up. I want to take most of that out and just kind of spread it lightly this way. And then I'm going to dab just a little bit out. Because I don't want this side to be that dark. I want it to stay kind of Coastal Cabana, not Bermuda Bay. And I'm done. I'm going to set this to the side to dry. And we will do some more with it before we fussy cut it out. But see the colors? There you go. We're going to set this aside to dry with the others, just like I did the other sheet. Alright, now I'm going to move these out of our way. We're done with the pastels. Woohoo! That was 2 different ways to use your pastels to create some beautiful techniques. And I'm going to put my watercolor pen away. I'm going to put my pastels away because I don't want them to get all mixed up everywhere. Put my lid on so I don't lose them and I don't get them wet, because getting them wet makes them a mess. And move this out of the way. Now we're going to make sure my hands are kind of clean because I'm fixing to fool with white paper. We're going to take our sheet of the Designer Series paper from the hand penned. This is the back side. I'm going to color this side. It's all white and black. It's just little circles. It's kind of cute. And I'm taking the same color as my back as my other sheet, my soft sea foam. And I'm going to use a brayer for this. You can use a blender. You can use a sponge. You can use anything you would like. If you're here, please leave me a comment. Let me know you're here so I can talk to you. That would be awesome. You know, I am drawing for someone to win this card when the week is up. I have a winner for last week, and I'm going to be mailing it to her. I believe it was Cindy Darcy who won last week. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Tina. All right. So good. My volume is still off. I mean, I had to go and put you up because I restarted. But anyway, you can color this with a brayer, a sponge, one of our blending brushes here. I like a lot of color. I want a lot of color on this, so I'm going to use a brayer. We also have used the blender pens for the pastels. Ah, very good idea. I'm going to take this and I'm literally just going to run my brayer in. This is old school, friends. And I'm literally just going to run this, start off and run down until I get the color palette that I want. And of course, you know, gives me lots of color. And if you have a bump like this one, don't worry so much about it because a lot of it is going to be covered. You won't see a whole lot of that. And I'm just going to keep flipping it till I get it how I want it. And I think leaving it where it has a few streaks in it gives it texture and dimension, but it also makes it pretty and colored. Because we won't see this. This middle streak that we've got, we won't see that at all in our card. And I like lots of color for this particular card in the background because it makes it match. Even if it's a little lighter than what I'm using. So the cardstock could be lighter, this could be darker, doesn't really matter. So I'm just going back over it a different way. It's kind of funny. See how I've got a blotch right here? I don't understand what happened for that, but you know. Oh well, I could call Stampin' Up. There we go. I'm going to leave it at that because it's good enough. But look at that. I don't know what that is. I might have to call Stampin' Up and ask them. I haven't had this all that long. So, we'll see. Okay, now that I've got that done, I'm going to take and adhere this. It goes right in the middle. It's going to be right there in the center. It's all good. Let me move the blender pen. Or the thing out of the way. Okay. So, now I'm trying to figure out what's next. By the way, if you haven't seen the card girls, there you go. So now I'm going to look and see if my stuff is dry because I need to stamp these little individual guys. You could use either one of these two stamps from the hand penned. I'm going to use this one. I tried this one the other day and I didn't like how it looked. I thought it was too much. So we're going to use that one. So let's see how dry we are. And we're pretty good. It's dry. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of my way so I don't get it messed up. And I'm taking Bermuda Bay to do my little stamps. Thank you. Thank you, Tina. I do like this card. Of course, anything with hearts, I'm a big fan. So you could stamp off and stamp on. Or you could stamp straight on. So I'm going to probably do a combination of both. And go over it. And that way it kind of looks kind of cool. And of course I want to change directions as well. So not all of it looks exactly the same, you know. And it's okay if you get it in the middle of the flowers or the hearts. Because I'm going to put my sentiment right here. And it's going to be in black. I may even emboss it because it turned out so dark. My other one wasn't as dark. And now we're going to put our sentiment in. I'm going to do black, and I think I'm going to go ahead and go back over it with the embossing, clear embossing paste. So I'm doing some Versamark first. And this is just so that I can be sure that this black stands out on this card. And I'm getting my black on here now. Because this is a very thin, you can see it's very thin letters. But it's so pretty. I just have to make sure I'm stamping it correctly. And I'm going to put this right here. There we go. And I'm taking my clear embossing powder. Better cover this up. Let me get this on here first. There we go. Cover this up before I have it everywhere. Okay, and the golden thing is this clear powder. The worst that's going to happen is if it shows up everywhere instead of black, is we have a few shiny spots. But I am going to take my, I have a paintbrush that keeps here just for this. If I get too much, and I need to look at the light just so I can make sure I don't have it everywhere. I want it on my letters. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to heat this. So if you hear the heat gun, you know what it is. Here we go. Get it nice and hot. And of course it is not a Stampin' Up! Heat gun. And you can heat from underneath as well. And don't heat too close, you'll burn it. There it goes. There we go. Alright. There we go. That way we're sure our sentiment came through. It's still a little not seen, but I think the card stands out enough that it makes it beautiful. Alright, now I kind of want a little more oomph to this. So what I'm going to do, and these are colors, I'm going to take my Granny Apple Green blends, since we don't have Coastal Cabana, and I'm going to take the dark one, and I'm just going to do this. Just put a little bit of happy around. Could use a black one, it wouldn't matter, but I think that just adds a little fun to it. And I don't have it on this one. Alright, that's all I did. Now let's put this sucker together, so then we can cut out our other piece. So you've got your two little half pieces, 1/2 inch by 5.5, and my other piece just, of course, fell. There it is. Went under my chair. Here we go. Now what I'm going to do is take my tape runner, and I'm just going to run a little tape runner on the ends of both sides of this, and then I'm going to place my DSP down. And of course I have it on too long. I cut it too long. I cut it the wrong, but that's alright. I'll just trim it in a second. Now mind you, if you're trying to line up the lines on this designer series paper, this designer series paper is not straight lines. So don't go by the lines. It's not straight. I tried to do that the first time I did it, and I was just like, oh, I can't get it straight. What's wrong with me? So what I did was I laid it down here and made sure it was straight. And then I laid this down straight. So it went on just like that. See? There you go. Now I'm going to take my scissors and trim each side. Because I cut them wrong. You can cut them, they're supposed to be 5 1/4 by 1/2 inch on each piece. Okay? Now I'm going to take this and put some glue on, and actually I think I'm going to go ahead and open a new glue, because my other glue is running really, really low. So how's the weather where you're at, Sherry? Is it still uber rainy? Ooh, this one's running really good. So I'm just going to take and put some glue down. You could put ribbon if you wanted. I didn't put any ribbon on this card. I didn't find that I had one that I really liked with this. So, and this is just going to go right in the center of this, and it will match evenly on the sides. And again, don't try to make it perfectly straight according to your lines here, because it's not straight. Alright, so there's your front, and we're not finished. You could pop this up. Now it's going to go right here, just like this. And I'm going to put a little glue down again. Make sure we get this on here very well. There we go. And I'm going to flip it back over, make sure we get a nice good press on it. hot, 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 and more hot, humidity, rain every day, but doesn't go. Yeah, guess what? I didn't get much different here, Sherry. It's the same thing. It was 95 degrees. My thermometer outside on my deck said 101, and the humidity was ridiculous. All right, now we're going to come back to our very, very pretty dried piece of heart. And I'm going to take some clear Wink of Stella. Who doesn't love the shiny? And we're going to blend this in here. Lots of Wink. And we're going to make it happy and shimmery and fun. I'm just putting it in the center of the heart. And you see I got another little piece of... This is good if you have Wink of Stella and you want to use it. You could use this as well with your pastels and make it shimmery pastels. And it would pick up your pastels and put it down on your paper just like I did here. So there's our piece. I'm actually going to take a paper towel once this is dry with a damp paper towel and press and kind of get some of the shiny back to our embossed image here, because you know I can't talk today for some reason. Just got to find my spray bottle. I keep this massive spray bottle in my craft room because I have no water in here. And I'm literally just going to dab off so that my shiny is shiny again. Because those pastels, that chalky pastel, sure has colored over it. There we go. It's still shiny. And we've got the shimmer, and now we're going to fussy cut this out. Drop my other scissors, so let's get these out. And we're just going to, those of you who love to fussy cut, this is great. I'm not a huge fan of fussy cutting. Just not my forte. It's not something I generally like to do. That's why Sherry and I, we talk about scan and cuts all the time, because I love my scan and cut, and I could do that with this. But I am doing a class, and pulling out my scan and cut to do this would just take more time than it's worth. So I'm just going to fussy cut it for you. I mean, I know how to fussy cut, and I'm not great at it, but I can do it. Not my thing. I know it's not Sherry's thing either. And I wish they'd have made a die cut for this, but they did not. They're mean. But who wants to sit down and stamp a whole bunch of these? And, well, maybe I should. I did it with a bunch of my other stamps. I stamped a whole bunch of them, and then I put them on my scan and cut, and cut out a ton of little critters, which was fun. That was a lot of fun. I have puppies and kitties and stockings and goats and all kinds of critters to use on my projects. I've got turtles and giraffes and oh, who knows what all. I did the Pamper Your Pets stamp set, and instead of buying the die cut, I scanned and cut them all out. And that has been a lifesaver, so I can use them whenever. And I did the same thing with the new one that's in the catalog. It's the stocking pet. It's the pets with the stockings. I don't. Sweet Stockings or something like that is the name of it. I haven't used it yet. I created one card, and I thought it was the ugliest thing I had ever made, so I refused to show anybody till I recreate the card. It's awful. Oh, and of course so is fussy cutting. I know it's therapy for others. I'd rather crochet if I want my therapy. Oh. So what have you girls been doing with yourselves lately? Oh, and we're almost there. Almost to the end. Woohoo! grandson has a football game today in this heat. They're like, you gonna come, Mamie? Nope, Mamie's not coming. All right, now we've got it cut out. Woohoo! And now we're gonna take our card and we're just gonna pop this up with some dimensionals. And yes, I have a stamped image on the back. It's okay. I decided not to use that stamped image. I'm using 2 dimensionals. Actually, I think I have 3 on here. I'll put one of these back. There we go. And we're gonna just pop this right here in the center. I know it kind of covers your heart, but I like to leave it so that you can kind of see it. But where you put it is really up to you. So I'm just gonna put him down right there. And we're gonna put this on the top of a card. Just like this, and stamp the inside a little bit, and you're good to go. Put this on here. There we go. There's your card, and I'm going to flip it open, and I'm going to use this little swirl that we have, that we used earlier, and I'm going to use my Bermuda Bay, and I'm literally just going to randomly put this in here, alternating first generation stamp, second generation stamp, like this, and we just got a little decoration on the inside. So there you go. And we have hearts. We have other things that you could put on the inside from the stamp sets that I've used. These are the 2 stamp sets. You can use the sentiments from Strong of Heart. I put through struggle comes strength, here for you, you amaze me, stronger than you know, which I'll probably use stronger than you know on the inside. But these are the 2 sets that I use, and I do work seamlessly and beautifully together. I didn't have trouble creating this. I love the colors. The colors were, you know, probably not something I generally would have chosen to do, but my love for the pastels are what chose the colors for me, and that is why I did this one. So let me bring you back to my ugly mug, because you know, I know Sherry misses seeing this ugly mug. I miss you down there in the south, even though it's hotter than bejesus, but I miss the fact that we would get together. Y'all have a great Saturday. I'm going to finish up, and I have blogging to do. I need to put a card out in the mail from last week. So those of you who have commented and liked and shared, I'll give it a week. So by the time next Saturday rolls around, I will be mailing a card. So if you commented or shared on last week's post before today, I will send out you a card. It may be you, it may not be. Y'all have a great day. Enjoy your Saturday, and get those kiddies ready for school if they're not already in school, and stay safe from the stupid Delta variant. I have my vaccines. I'm good, but it's just ridiculous. Anyway, y'all, love, peace, happiness. See you next Saturday. Bye.